There is something in the air around you that has shifted. Something subtle, something quiet, something your spirit may have felt before your mind could explain it. Because someone connected to your heart has been holding back words they have longed to say. Words they have rehearsed in silence. Words they almost spoke before. Then stopped. Then waited. Then tried again in their own mind 1,000 times. And now the moment is approaching. Do not skip this, because what is unfolding behind the scenes is bigger than you realize. The one you call your soulmate. The one whose energy somehow keeps returning to your thoughts. The one your heart still feels even in silence. Has good news. Not small news. Not ordinary news. Not meaningless conversation. No. They have been waiting, carefully, emotionally, almost nervously, for the right time to tell you something they believe could change everything between you. And what makes this moment powerful is that this message has not come lightly. They did not arrive at this realization overnight. This came after confusion, after distance, after overthinking, after moments where they nearly convinced themselves to remain silent forever. But silence has become too heavy for them. Because the truth inside them has grown too loud. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. They have watched you from a distance in ways you never fully understood. Not always physically, but emotionally. They noticed how you kept going when life became difficult. They noticed how your heart remained kind even after disappointment. They noticed the way you carried pain without letting it turn you cold. And something inside them changed. Because they began to realize. You were never ordinary to them. You were never just someone. You were never forgettable. You were the person who stayed in their thoughts when the room went quiet. The face they remembered during random moments of the day. The name that still created emotion in their chest when spoken aloud. And now, they can no longer hide from what they feel. There is a confession building inside them. A truth they have been waiting to deliver. Good news that has been growing stronger with every passing day. But before they speak it, understand this. They had to become sure. Sure of their heart. Sure of their intentions. Sure that what they feel is real and not temporary emotion. Sure that what they want with you is deeper than impulse. And now? That certainty has arrived. Do you understand what that means? It means someone who once hesitated no longer hesitates. Someone who once doubted no longer doubts. Someone who once feared what this connection meant now sees it clearly. They know what you are to them. And that realization has changed everything. Don't skip. Because the next part matters more than you think. The good news they have been waiting to tell you is not surface level. It is not casual. It is not just, I miss you. It is deeper than that. They are preparing to tell you that their feelings for you never faded. Never disappeared. Never moved on the way they pretended they had. Even when distance existed. Even when communication changed. Even when life placed obstacles between you. Their heart remained connected. And now they are ready to admit what they once denied. No one has affected me the way you do. That is the truth building inside them. Because every attempt to replace this connection failed. Every distraction felt temporary. Every other conversation lacked the depth they felt with you. And eventually, they had to face the truth. You were never just another chapter. You were the chapter that stayed open. You were the unfinished story. You were the person they kept returning to emotionally no matter how far they wandered mentally. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the message they carry is not only emotional. It is transformational. They want you to know that the version of them who once held back, who once ran from vulnerability, who once avoided honesty, is disappearing. A stronger version has emerged. A clearer version. A version finally brave enough to tell you what should have been said long ago. And when they speak, it may catch you off guard. Because the truth they are carrying has become impossible for them to contain. They want more than your attention now. They want your presence. More than your messages. They want your consistency. More than your affection. They want your future. Yes. Read that again in your spirit. Their good news is not just that they love you. It is that they finally understand the depth of what this connection means. And they are preparing to move differently because of it. Their intentions are becoming serious. Their heart is becoming focused. Their emotions are becoming impossible to ignore. And soon, you may hear from them in a way you never expected. A message. A confession. A conversation. An unexpected opening. But however it arrives, it will carry emotional weight. Because this is not random. This is someone who has spent countless nights thinking about what they should say to you. Practicing words. Imagining your reaction. Wondering if the timing is right. Wondering if you still feel what they feel. Wondering if the door is still open. Stay till the end. Because there is one final truth you need to hear. The reason they waited so long was not because they did not care. It was because what they feel for you became too important to handle carelessly. They knew that once they spoke these words, nothing would remain casual. Nothing would remain hidden. Everything would change. And now, they are ready for that change. Ready for honesty. Ready for vulnerability. Ready to tell you the good news they have carried in silence. That they still want this. Still believe in this. Still see something extraordinary between you. Still feel that your connection was never meant to be temporary. And in their heart, they believe the next chapter between you is closer than ever. Because some people delay their truth. But they cannot hide it forever. And this truth? It is rising. Fast. Very fast. Prepare yourself. Because the conversation you have waited for may be nearer than you think. And when it arrives, you will finally understand why every delay, every silence, every unanswered question was leading to this moment. Because your soulmate has good news. And they have been waiting for the perfect moment to tell you everything. And yet, before they tell you everything, there is something you must understand. The silence between you was never emptiness. It was preparation. While you may have wondered why things felt delayed, why the connection seemed paused, why the words you longed to hear never fully arrived, your soulmate was fighting battles within themselves that you could not see. Do not skip this part, because what they went through explains everything. They had to confront parts of themselves they once avoided. Their fears, their pride, their emotional walls, their uncertainty about whether they were truly ready for a connection this deep. Because loving you, truly loving you, required more from them than they expected. You awakened something in them that could not remain half-hearted. And that terrified them at first. Because this was never ordinary attraction. It was never surface-level chemistry. It was recognition. The kind of connection that makes someone realize, this person could change my life. And when people feel something that powerful, they either rise to meet it, or run from it until they are ready. Your person ran for a while. Not because they wanted someone else. Not because they forgot you. Not because you meant less than you thought. They ran because what they felt was too real. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. Every time they tried to suppress their feelings, you returned to their thoughts. Every time they told themselves to move on, something reminded them of you. A song, a place, a random memory, a familiar feeling they could not explain. And slowly, painfully, undeniably, they realized this connection was not fading. It was deepening. Even in silence. Even in separation. Even in distance. That is why the good news they carry is more powerful than simple affection. It is clarity. They finally know what they want. And what they want is you. Not a temporary moment. Not inconsistent energy. Not a half-finished story. You. Fully. Clearly. Intentionally. Let that sink in. Because there was a time when they could not say that with certainty. But now? Now they see your value with eyes that are no longer confused. Now they understand what your presence truly means. Now they recognize that people like you do not come twice. Don't skip. Because this next truth matters deeply. They have been planning how to approach you. Yes, planning. Thinking through what they will say. How they will say it. How to explain the silence. How to explain the delay. How to explain the feelings they hid behind distance. Because they know that when they come forward, words alone will not be enough. They know they must show change. Show maturity. Show consistency. Show that they are not returning with empty emotion, but real intention. And that is exactly what they are preparing to do. This is why their message may arrive unexpectedly. When you least expect it. When you think nothing is happening. When you assume the silence means the story is over. That is when everything may shift. Because some of the biggest moments in life arrive quietly first. Then suddenly change everything. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is not just bringing feelings. They are bringing truth. Truth about what they felt. Truth about what they feared. Truth about why they waited. Truth about why no one else could replace what they found in you. And when they speak honestly, you may finally hear the words your heart suspected all along. I was trying to understand what you meant to me. And now I know. Imagine hearing that. Imagine the silence breaking. Imagine the distance making sense. Imagine the confusion finally being replaced with clarity. That moment is building. It is not random. It is not fantasy. It is not wishful thinking. It is emotional momentum gathering behind the scenes. Because hearts can delay truth. But they cannot bury it forever. And your person's truth has become too powerful to suppress. They miss you more deeply than they admit. They think of you more often than they show. They care more than their silence ever revealed. And now, they are nearing the point where staying silent hurts more than speaking up. That is when everything changes. Because when someone reaches that emotional threshold, they stop calculating. They stop pretending. They stop hiding. They finally act. Stay till the end. Because this final part may be the most important truth yet. When your soulmate comes forward, it will not feel random. It will feel like something your spirit already knew was coming. Because deep down, part of you has sensed this shift. Part of you has felt that something unfinished still exists here. Part of you has known this story was not over. Trust that feeling. Because some connections are delayed, not denied. And this delay? It has been creating the version of them capable of loving you the way you deserve. Not immaturely. Not inconsistently. Not halfway. But fully. So hold your heart steady. Because the good news they have been waiting to tell you is no longer far away. The truth is rising. The silence is breaking. The confession is nearing. And very soon, the person who once struggled to express what they felt may finally stand before you with the honesty you waited for. Because your soulmate has something beautiful to tell you. And they are closer than ever to saying it. But here is what makes this moment even more powerful. Your soulmate is not only preparing to speak. They are preparing to reveal just how long they have felt this way. Because what they are about to tell you may surprise you more than the confession itself. Their feelings did not begin recently. Their realization did not happen overnight. This has been building in secret, for far longer than you know. Do not skip this. Because something huge is waiting for you. There were moments when they almost reached out. Moments when your name sat in front of them on a screen. Moments when their fingers hovered over a message they never sent. Moments when their heart screamed, "Tell them now." And fear whispered, "Wait." So they waited. They waited through nights of overthinking. They waited through emotional battles. They waited through confusion they could not explain. But every delay only made one thing clearer. Their feelings for you were not disappearing. They were intensifying. Because distance did not weaken this connection. It revealed its depth. Anyone can feel something when a person is near. But when someone remains in your heart even in absence, that is when you know it is real. And that is the realization that changed everything for them. They now understand that losing access to you never erased their attachment to you. If anything, it made them recognize your worth more deeply. Stay till the end. Because what they are realizing now is transforming their next move. They have begun replaying every memory with you. Every conversation. Every laugh. Every emotional moment. Every subtle sign they once overlooked. And suddenly, things they once brushed aside now hit them differently. They see the connection more clearly now than ever before. They understand the way your presence affected them. They understand why no one else ever felt quite the same. They understand why their heart kept circling back to you no matter what they tried. And with that realization comes urgency. Because now they fear something they never feared before. The possibility of waiting too long. They fear that if they stay silent any longer, they may lose the chance they still hope for. That fear is becoming stronger than their hesitation. And when someone reaches that point, they stop observing from a distance. They stop hiding behind pride. They stop pretending there is time forever. They move. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the good news they carry is not only emotional. It is intentional. They are no longer thinking in vague feelings. They are thinking in possibilities. In future conversations. In future moments. In future plans. In what life might look like if they stop resisting what they feel. That is how serious this has become. You are no longer just someone they care about. You are becoming the person they imagine in their future. Read that again. Because not everyone reaches that level of realization. And once someone does, their heart begins to demand action. Don't skip. Because this next truth explains why the energy around you feels different. You may have sensed a shift recently. A strange emotional pull. Unexpected thoughts about them. A feeling that something is approaching. That is not meaningless. Because when emotional truth builds inside someone long enough, it changes the energy of the connection itself. And your soulmate's energy is shifting toward action. Toward honesty. Toward revealing what they have hidden. Toward finally saying, "I should have told you sooner." Those words may matter more than you know. Because hidden inside them is an admission. That they recognize the delay. They recognize the missed timing. They recognize the silence. They recognize the uncertainty they created. And they regret it. Not because they stopped caring, but because they cared more than they knew how to handle. Stay till the end. Because this final truth may change how you view everything. The good news they are bringing is not simply that they love you. It is that they are no longer willing to lose you through silence. That is the real turning point. Because before this, they could suppress their feelings. Now, they cannot. Before this, they could distract themselves. Now, nothing works. Before this, they believed time would make the feelings fade. Now, time has only made them stronger. And that is why their confession is nearing. Because eventually, truth reaches a point where it demands to be spoken. And their truth has reached that point. So prepare your heart. Because the person you have wondered about, the person who remained emotionally unfinished in your story, the person who still feels tied to your spirit, may soon come forward with more honesty than you expected. Not with confusion. Not with mixed signals. But with clarity. With sincerity. With the good news they have carried in silence for far too long. That their feelings for you never left. Their heart never forgot. And their future may still include your name. The next chapter of this story is closer than you think. And when it begins, you will understand why every unanswered moment was only building toward this confession. And when that moment finally arrives, it may begin more quietly than you expect. Not with fireworks. Not with dramatic noise. But with a single message. A single conversation. A single unexpected opening that changes everything. Because life's most important moments often arrive softly first. And only later do you realize they were the turning point all along. Do not skip this. Because something huge is waiting for you. When your soulmate finally speaks, listen carefully. Not only to their words, but to the emotion behind them. Because what they will reveal has been carried in silence for longer than you know. They may tell you how many times they almost reached out. How many nights they thought about you. How often your memory interrupted their day. How many times they wondered if you still felt the connection too. And in that moment, you may realize you were never forgotten. Never replaced. Never as distant from their heart as silence made it seem. That realization alone may shift everything. Because there is healing in finally hearing the truth you once only hoped was real. Stay till the end. Because the next part matters more than you think. Your soulmate has not been waiting merely to confess feelings. They have been waiting to arrive correctly. That is what makes this different. They do not want to come to you half-ready. They do not want to offer uncertainty wrapped in emotion. They do not want to repeat old patterns. They want to approach you with seriousness. With steadiness. With the kind of energy that says, I know what I want now. And when someone reaches that point, their love begins to feel different. More mature. More intentional. More grounded. More powerful. That is the version of them moving toward you now. Not the uncertain version. Not the fearful version. Not the emotionally conflicted version. But the version that finally understands your value. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the good news they carry may include words you once thought you would never hear. Words like, I was wrong to stay silent. I should have been honest sooner. I never stopped caring. I still feel this deeply. I want to see where this can go. And if those words arrive, they will not be random. They will be the result of everything they have endured internally. To become brave enough to speak. Do not underestimate what it takes for someone to confront their own heart fully. Especially when the truth is life-changing. Don't skip. Because this final truth may be the most important of all. The reason this connection has remained so alive is because it was never superficial. It touched something deeper. It reached a place in both of you that ordinary connections never reach. That is why forgetting was never simple. That is why replacing each other never worked. That is why even silence could not erase what existed. Because some people enter your life to teach you something. But some people enter your life to transform it. And your soulmate now understands which one you are. You are not a passing memory to them. You are not what could have been. You are the person they still wonder about. Still feel drawn toward. Still imagine beside them when they think of something real. And that is why they can no longer keep this hidden. The truth is pressing forward. The silence is collapsing. The moment is nearing. So if you have felt lately that something is shifting in your life, that emotional energy is building, that closure never truly came because the story was unfinished, trust that feeling. Because sometimes your spirit senses movement before your eyes can see it. And what is moving now is a heart coming back with honesty. A heart coming back with truth. A heart coming back with the good news. It has been waiting far too long to tell you that what they feel is real. That what they lost matters deeply. And that they may finally be ready to give this connection the chance it deserves. The next chapter is not ordinary. It carries weight. It carries meaning. It carries everything they once struggled to express. So hold your heart open. Because your soulmate's good news is no longer trapped in silence. It is rising toward you. And when they finally speak, you may realize this was the moment the entire story had been building toward.